I'm going to introduce the co-moderators of this session. Carla Childers is Vice President, Bioethics, Policy and Partnerships at Johnson & Johnson. Aaron Liebtag is CEO and co-founder Pentavere. And we will be talking about a new model, a new patients first model. You guys want to take it away?
Oh, yeah. Okay, over to you while I go corral these people over here.
As people are being corralled, I want to thank the Galien Foundation for this moment. They've had a profound impact in accelerating innovation, and in doing so has really accelerated our shared humanity, and this Patient Summit is an example of that. I want to thank Edward Cohen, who's really honored the foundation by putting patients first and the legacy of what your father and Elie Wiesel started. And I want to thank Carla Childers. Carla, your leadership and ethics, the moral clarity you bring makes this conversation impactful and credible for patients. My name's Aaron Liebtag, and a year ago today, 2 events changed my life. The first event was the company I co-founded won the 2024 Best Digital Health Startup Award. That's not to, what to clap at is the committee selected a company that didn't raise $1 of venture capital, had $0 budget in marketing and promotions. Many would argue we didn't have a product that can demonstrate that hockey stick of recurring revenue. But what we did have was 50 peer-reviewed publications validating our AI in terms of unlocking the hidden knowledge that we've talked about today in the EMR to help identify patients faster, diagnose them earlier, reduce that administrative burden of clinicians so fewer patients fall through the cracks. And we had in peer-reviewed publications impacting over 1 million lives. The next event was 4 days later. My son was diagnosed with an extremely rare brain tumor. 4 days later. And when your child is a patient, you become the patient because you would do everything and give anything in the world to actually be in their place. Thank God he's okay. He got the most incredible care. This is him 3 days later from major brain surgery. If we really want to celebrate what the Galien Forum is all about, innovation in life science. We're here today to talk about what could be a new model to unlock innovation in healthcare. You know, I was going to start with this, and I'm going to change that because I don't think that does honor to the discussions by patients that have happening today. The point is that, right? We're here to talk about patients. Just think about it. He had major brain surgery and, you know, no scar and is okay. So when we talk about changing the model for patients, let's focus on that. But I don't want to take away how important this is because we need capital. And that's what Carla and I are going to talk. So one of the things that was delightful today, hearing from patients, is your ideas. Some of you are even so bold that you were pitching, and good for you, because that's what entrepreneurs need to do. And if you were meeting with any venture capital company, any funding sort of source, both on the life science side, in the capital market side, this is what it looks like. They're going to say, what is your product? Show me the addressable market. What is the problem? How are you going to build a product? And this is the amount of money that we need. And you go on that journey. But here is the problem in healthcare. We're talking about putting patients in the middle. You build that product. You raise that capital. You get on that wheel. What about security and infrastructure? What about privacy, ethics, and compliance? What about actual clinical adoption? And then what about the patient? As entrepreneurs hit each of those sort of barriers, it ends up costing a lot more capital. It ends up reducing the scale of that product. It actually creates huge distance between product market fit. Yet this is how we fund companies today to unlock healthcare innovation. And this is the community. This is what we want to begin the conversation to facilitate to change. Can you imagine starting with the patients? Can you imagine a pitch that says, I'm looking for seed capital because I'm going to be spending the next 8 months with the patient community. I'm going to build advocacy. I'm going to understand sort of that route. My total addressable market is that circle of care, and these are the milestones to which I think we should fund. And then let's talk about clinical adoption. Let's talk about privacy, ethics, and regulations. And let's keep moving up from seed to Series A to Series B to Series C, not on product market fit and a SaaS model. We've spent $56 billion US over the last few years around that particular approach. And let that inform that product market fit. Let that inform the solutions and the innovations that were coming up. And that is what we're really here to talk to you about and facilitate a discussion today. And with that, it's my profound privilege and honor to pass it to my colleague, Carla, from Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, thank you. And I'll now go back and apologize for starting off by yelling at all of you. So I think as Jeremy and Aaron both briefly mentioned, I have the distinct privilege of working at J&J in a role called the Head of Bioethics Policy and Partnerships, which it means my day job is spending time thinking about how do we ethically conduct research and deliver innovation and products to the patients who need them. And so it's an absolute privilege. I think I have the best job in industry, and I really do love it. I sought out industry 20 years ago because of my experience in my own family. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 11, and as you can imagine, that devastated our family. And so when Aaron asked me if I'd like to participate in this particular session of how do we actually flip the script and make it so that we live into his model where you're asking about the patients first and you're developing it from that perspective, I'm all in. I know that what you're all thinking of, oh great, here's another pharma person to lecture us on the patient voice and how the industry thinks the patient voice is so important. And yet we know, we asked you and we heard from you because we know we don't always get this right and we know we have a lot of work to do, that you're included at the end. That came up so much today, the importance and the brilliance of bringing the patients in from the very beginning. What should the target product profile look like? What kind of symptoms do you not have good management over? What are your biggest complaints about the available therapies, or are there even any? And so I want you to know we asked, and I'm going to ask your trust, even though you have no reason to trust me because you don't know me, but we do hear you. What do the guardrails look like? What would it look like if we rewarded this in innovators and entrepreneurs and businesses to do things in a patient-first manner? What would that behavior look like?
And as Carla is getting set up, I want us also to keep focused on what is the goal for patients. The goal for patients with this credo is we can use it foundationally to start changing the mindset of what is a great investment and a great investment roadmap. Because if we can unlock capital the right way, anchored in these values with your voice, then we can accelerate those great ideas that you have as entrepreneurs and as patients.